Hey guys, this is Eddie from Remax in Windsor. In 2023, the real estate market in Canada remains a hot topic for both buyers and sellers. While the market is always changing, there are a few things that buyers should keep in mind in order to avoid potential pitfalls when purchasing the property. Here are some tips to help you avoid these troubles when buying the property in 2023. Buying a pre-construction property can seem like a smart investment, but it's important to understand the risks involved. One of the biggest concerns is that builders often use customized purchase agreement instead of the standard area purchase agreement. These usually allow them to increase the purchase price of the property before closing, which can lead to unexpected costs for the buyers. Another risk of buying a pre-construction property is that the lenders may also refuse fulfill the obligations before the final closing. This can happen if interest rates keep rising or if there's a significant drop in housing prices. When this happens, buyers might find themselves unable to secure the financing when they need to complete the purchase. In addition, the quality of the new construction is actually more questionable these days than ever before due to the increasing cost of building materials and labor. Some builders might cut corners or use lower quality materials to keep the costs down. This can lead to issues with the property down the road, such as leaks or structural issues with the house, things like that. The second is to avoid the flippers homes. Flippers are individuals who buy homes, renovate them, and sell them for profit. While this can be a lucrative business for the sellers, but it's important for buyers to know, to be aware of the risks involved when purchasing with the flippers home. Firstly, flippers' workmanship is usually questionable since there's no warranty on their projects. Literally anything inside the house can break down a few days or after use. If something does go wrong, buyers might find themselves responsible for expensive repairs. Additionally, since flippers are often looking to make a quick profit, they might not take the time to do things properly or to use better quality materials. Another issue with flippers' home is that the flipper might have done the renovations without getting the work permit. This is common and sometimes can be a major issue. Work done without the permit might not meet the building codes, which can lead to safety hazards and costly repairs. Additionally, if the local government finds out about the unpermitted work, they may require the homeowner to either remove it or they will have to pay a quite chunk of money for the fines and penalties. So just be careful with the flippers home. The third point is to avoid using out-of-town real estate agents. When looking to purchase a property, it's important to work with an agent who is familiar with local areas. This is especially true if you are buying in a new city or town that you are not familiar with. Well, it is quite tempting to use your own agent from your own cities, even if you are trying to buy a property from another city. Since you know the guy well and you tend to trust whatever he says, but there are usually several risks associated with this kind of decision. One of the main concerns is that the out-of-town agents might not be familiar with local bylaws or regulations that will substantially impact your purchase. For example, some cities may have bylaws that require landlords to obtain a license to rent out their properties or to do Airbnbs, things like that, short-term rentals. Such as the new rental licensing law in Windsor in Ward 1 and Ward 2. So if you are not aware of this kind of requirements, you might find yourself facing fines or other expensive costs to modify the properties or to get a new license for the house. Another issue with out-of-town agents is that they might not be familiar with the local market. They may not know which neighborhoods are up and coming and which schools are highly rated or which areas are prone to flooding or other hazards. This can lead to costly mistakes when it comes to choosing the property. And the fourth one is to avoid submitting an offer through the listing agent directly. Some buyers might be tempted to submit an offer directly through the listing agent rather than using their own agent. This can seem like a tempting way to save some money, but it's important to understand the risks involved. One of the biggest risks is that the listing agent has a legal obligation to act in the best interests of the seller, not the buyer. If you submit the offer through the listing agent, they may not work as hard to negotiate on your behalf or to ensure that your needs are met. Additionally, if there are any issues with the property, such as undisclosed defects, listing agent may not be forthcoming with this information, as it could hurt their ability to close the sale. Furthermore, some buyers may try to obtain confidential information from listing agent in order to gain an advantage in negotiations or bidding wars. This can include information such as the seller's motivation to sell or their willingness to negotiate on the price. However, this is a quite gray area, and an agent who is willing to risk doing anything like this is also ethically questionable. The most important question here is that, do you really believe the agent who is willing to give an information like this? And do you really believe in the information that he or she gives out? Can it be forged just to induce a better offer? After all, listing agent is only representing the seller's best interest from the legal standpoint. It's important for buyers to have their own representation in the transaction to ensure that their interests are protected. A buyer's agent has a legal obligation to act in the best interest of the buyer, and it can provide valuable advice and guidance throughout the whole process. A buyer's agent is obligated to not only provide guidance before the APS is signed, agreement of purchase and sale, but also need to protect the buyer's best interest throughout the whole transaction until the final closing, sometimes even post-closing if any surprises happened. The buyer always retains the right to file a complaint to RICO if the agent's service is not satisfactory, as the buyer agent owes a fiduciary duty to the buyer. So in conclusion, buying a home is a major financial decision, and it's important to understand the risks involved. Well, there are no guarantees when it comes to the real estate, but there are steps that buyers can take to minimize risk and ensure that they're making an informed decision. Avoiding pre-construction purchases, flippers homes, out-of-town agents, and submitting an offer through the listing agent can help buyers make a more informed decision and protect their investment in 2023. Interviewing multiple agents and find the most qualified, doing your own research, and getting a thorough home inspection will help buyers a lot in making a more informed decision and ensure that they are getting the most value of their money. By taking these steps, buyers can feel more confident in their purchases and avoid some of the common pitfalls associated with buying real estate. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.